Hi, Edouard.
Hi.
Edouard Cambier, you are the founder of Seed Factory coworking space, which has been operating in Brussels, Belgium for
20 years.
Almost, 20 years now. You were among the pioneers in the coworking industry in Belgium at the time when the word coworking wasn't even invented, crafted, and then step by step we moved into this understanding of what coworking was about. You're also the president of the Belgian Workspace Association, so you are very knowledgeable about the whole market in Belgium regarding coworking and what is still called the business centers. And the idea was to have a chat with you, first of all, to get your feedback about the recent weeks, because you reopened, you are almost full again, but it was at, I can say, the cost of a lot of pivots, a lot of efforts to bring back people, and also to shift new business model. And also you will tell about the ads you are now paying for. And with your other hats of the Belgian Workspace Association, I thought it would be interesting to also go through some number of the categories that the Belgian Workplace Association has made in order to see what are the 4 big categories of spaces, coworking space, you see, from the very profitable to the never will be profitable space. And that's something which is quite original in the European scene, this way to look at things. So first of all, our attention is now Seed Factory at full speed.
Well, Seed Factory is a long history. We started 20 years ago with an old building. You see behind me the building. So it's not a new fashion building city center. We are a little bit in the periphery of Brussels. We bought that building 20 years ago. In that building we had 2 or 3 media agency or communication agency, and we transformed a couple of years ago those 3 agency in 30 startups and grow up in the communication, media, BI, EI business. So now we have 150 co-workers in 30 different startups, and those 150 co-workers dropped down till 5 co-workers during the COVID period. So we went from 150 to 5, and then a couple of weeks.
You.
Pardon?
You included.
Excuse me?
You included.
Oh yeah, me included, because I was the virtual and the physical office manager during that period with this kind of exciting tool.
Yeah.
So I use this during 2 months. So I'm a little bit bored of this of these tools.
Was it always the same, or you change it?
No, I changed the size. Sometimes I put the green part, sometimes the white part. So I changed every day. No, I'm joking, but we invest a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of money in all those tools. So we went from 150 to 5 during the COVID, and then since a couple of weeks, since the opening of the B2B segment, so we went from 5 till 15, and then we had the B2C opening. We went from 15 till 20, 25. And then when the first schools opened 2 weeks ago, we went from 25, 30 till 40, 45. And we are not full. I'm sure we will be full in September when all the schools will be opened. But actually we have a big density on the floor. So we only have 2 company closed actually. It's Musimap, and Musimap is an international grow up in EI, in music EI, and those guys are in the Silicon Valley or are in the Middle East. So all those guys are still at home. And a second one called High Pay, and those guys are specialized in virtual money and those guys are also at home, and because the top management, the French top management, is still in Paris. So 2 companies on the 30 are still closed.
All right. So, but you spend some money now to do promotion on some TV channels now in Belgium. You told me. You also told about some partnership you made with a local market, for instance, for organic food and things like that. So, is it really part of the whole plan to reboost the attractiveness of the space and get some branding visibility on top? And is it working?
Well. It's working, and these are not my ideas. These are ideas we co-create during the COVID period. So we organized what you organized, Jean-Yves, many times a day, Zoom. So we organized one Zoom with the whole group, so with the whole community every day. So we organized practically 33 Zoom of half an hour with guests. And so we invite, for example, the manager of the Chamber of Commerce in Brussels. We invite the journalists from Trends, journalists from The Tate, journalists from L'Echo. You know, those
very famous Belgian media. Yeah,
exactly. And during all those Zoom, well, those guests they proposed us collaboration. So these are not my idea or our ideas. Most of the ideas are coming from those guests we invite during the Zooms. And one of the ideas is we create 3 little video promotion videos with LN24, and it creates a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of energy between not only LN24 myself, but also with all the tenants and all the co-workers, because every co-worker has 8 seconds on in the video spot. And those video spots are still on LN24. There is still space for you, Jean-Yves. It costs €600, nothing, for 120 visibility. So it's during 1 month, you are 103 times on TV, on social media, and of course on their website for nearly nothing. So we booked already 2 spots, and there will probably a third one in July. And the return is positive.
All right. Do you see new leads coming in? So players who were not considering to go in the Flex Workspace in the beginning, and now due to different reasons, or maybe because of the promotion, now are considering it and reaching out to you?
I think the new leads we have, so I had 3 new office still since Tuesday. It's one corporate who decide to stop with their expensive office. It's a lawyer company with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with 6 people. So it's a little lawyer company who were downtown Brussels and decided to come closer to the European Commission, where we are situated. There's an accountancy company who is in trouble with another co-working. And there's a guy specialized in high-end domotics for villas and still like that. So we have 3 leads still since the beginning of this week.
So you feel a new energy coming, or a new kind of demand, or new kind of profiles coming due to the crisis that now is hopefully over.
I think I feel the same type of leads who are coming into Topos or to
other business centers with famous in Brussels. Yeah,
exactly. So we see some incoming leads, but more or coming from little corporates. So they are not slashers or co-workers or individuals. So we have now incoming leads, hot leads coming from little corporates.
Okay, and that was not as clear, or that was not that kind of profile you saw coming in that proportion in the beginning, maybe.
Oh no, it's the first time we have this kind of leads. Most of the guys working at Seed Factory are coming from agencies, are coming from RTL, are coming from YouTube. Most of those guys are individuals. They are between 30 and 35 years, and they say, now at 35, I would like to launch my own company. So that's most of the time, that's this kind of public. And the leads we get are totally new leads for us, more coming from they are not multinationals, they are not corporate. It's more the SMEs, the traditional SMEs putting in.
So, and what is your takeaway from it? What do you understand that? What is your learning? Do we have entered this new era post-COVID? You see, or just no? It's just an accident, and world will come back to what it used to be for the co-working world.
No, Joy, we had a hard time. I've never worked so hard during those 2 or 3 months. We were very stressed. There was a lot of insecurity. All our tenants, they ask us for private meeting, private Zoom. So we invest a lot of time and energy in dialogue, in communication. It's not finished. I'm sure we will have a lot of our tenants will have problem in September, October, because their own customers have problem. I'm not talking about agency who are working for public sector, because in the public sector there are still money, but our agencies working for the L'Oreal and the Danone and the BMW and the Mercedes, they will have some problems in September, October. So we are preparing the months after the summer, September, October, November, and we expect to have some problem, some liquidity problems after the summer.
Okay, so let's move to maybe your helmet as a president of Belgian Workspace Association. As I said, there is this interesting way of seeing things from the Belgian Workplace Association. I'm just trying to share my screen now. Here it is.
So we have 232 buildings, members in our association, with different category, starting with real co-working spaces, and till big networks like the Regus and the Spaces and the WeWork. So we have the total range of members. Yes, and so spread all over Belgium.
Yes, exactly. So it's one of the. I shouldn't say that because I'm a member, but it's a very well organized association of spaces, and in Europe, it's one of the best, I think, and the most visible in country-based. I mean, so what I wanted to go through with you was this idea of the profitability and the 4 categories we have. You see in the Flex Workspace environment. Mm-hmm. And to sum it up, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you see 4 main categories. The first one is the very profitable area where you have 10 to 30% margin, where everything is automatized, and it's you said it in French, just dull but very professional. So this part of the market is pretty important in Belgium. It's partly made out of the historical players, but a big deal of them, we must confess, evolved in a good way. They redesign the space. They made it cooler. Maybe it's not as fun and the vibe is not as good as some would expect, but indeed, and they are very successful at that. Then you have the second quartile, which is made out of co-working space, flex workspace, with a lower margins, who have more focus maybe on more community, more branding, which are doing well, but are not as profitable as the others. And then you have the third and fourth quartile. I don't know whether you split that, but definitely you say that it will be never profitable. It's most of them are publicly supported, and if it's still there, it's just an anomaly. Did I sum it up properly, or you have to bring some nuances?
No, it's okay. I would like to bring just one detail for the third part. So most of those are public co-working and public business centers. The first quartile, the very profitable, are private, and most of them are in the periphery of Brussels or Ghent of Antwerp. So most of them
3 biggest cities in Belgium.
Yeah, they are around the big cities. They are in the middle of nowhere, without restaurant, without cafe in this area. So they are a little bit monopolistic in their district.
Yeah, they create kind of a gravitational effect. That's as there is nothing around. It's just most of the time in industry parks. So
Exactly.
everybody from around comes in just to have a meeting, to have a coffee, to you know.
Yeah, with large parking, with very large parking. That's the first part. The second part are co-working of business centers like me, not very profitable, not so huge. My business center is 2,000 square meter. The third one is these are more public, coming from the public sector. And the last part, so the fourth category, it's a mix of empty building of guys who says, okay, I will create my own co-working without strategy. They just have a spot of 400, 500, 600 square meter and decide to create a co-working from out the blue. You see what I mean? So there is no strategy, there is no person.
They say typical guys saying, okay, it's easy, you put table, you put Wi-Fi, have a co-working space, come to my co-working space, and that's it. No service, no hospitality, no thinking behind.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. That's it. So what do you think those categories are frozen and will remain like that? Or do you see some switches between one and another from what you see as in your position as the Belgian Workspace Association? Is there room for improvement for those players, or no? That's the DNA is not the right one. Simply.
There is improvement. The market is still open. I just booked, for example, Jean-Yves, I just booked a room in a hotel for 8 persons. That they transform all the rooms in private dinner space. So in Brussels, the Jam Hotel transform a part of their rooms in private space for dinner in the evening. Yeah. So I'm sure the business is the market is still open for creativity, and for example, we have to reinvent we always have to reinvent our business, but I think we have to reinvent a little bit more actively our economy actually, with all those Zooms and virtual events and virtual happening. I think there is room for improvement.
So that's another interesting chart that is shared within the community of the Business Workplace Association. Is the red part is what we call the co-working by nature. So we make this space between the business center, traditional business center, and the co-working. At socialworkplaces.com, we like to say the co-working encompasses everything now. It's just a matter of just the wording to change. But we definitely see that co-working is every year is taking a bigger part, bigger chunk of the whole market. How do you see that evolving? Because there is this assumption that we read in any big real estate brokerage players saying that Flex Workspace, co-working will take over 30% of the office market by 2030. Do you see that coming in Belgium as well, and Brussels especially?
Well, I see it coming a little bit earlier in Paris and London, because the square meter is very expensive. Yeah. Brussels is not expensive in comparison with other big cities. It's only a city with 1 million inhabitants, with the city center and the European part of Brussels. But if you want absolutely a building in the European district, it costs a lot of money. But if you go a little bit further, it's I'm talking about 2 or 3 kilometers. So it's not very far away. If you rent a building 2 or 3 kilometers from the Schumann plane, it's not expensive. So I'm sure we will have 30% of flexible space in 2030. I'm absolutely sure. Look at the European Commission. They have at the European Commission a co-working manager. They have a co-working manager in nearly all public departments in our country. So you have more and more facility manager who becomes co-working manager in all those institutions. Yeah. So I'm quite confident, but actually we will have a lot of plexi, a lot of gel till the end of this year. but beginning of next year, you will have more and more corporate, large corporate. We will still have, I would say, a small office in the city center of Brussels, but they will book a lot of flex around Brussels, in Antwerp, in Ghent, so they will reinvent the way of working. So I expect a lot of new business coming from corporate institutions.
A last slide that I wanted to get your comment on is this one, because it represents the split between the independent players, independent spaces, and the rest. So we see, of course, that IWG Reduce is still very dominant in Belgium, but dominant, like, you know, in the steel industry, the biggest player in the steel industry, I think, has 8% of market shares, and so you still have a lot of independent players around. I'm not sure I'm not sure it was. Yeah, it's not unidentified, so it's individual players. It's still very fragmented. So some players we got in touch recently in London or in Paris, were definitely expecting a big wave of consolidation in the market. Will it happen in Belgium as well, you see, or should it happen?
I see a consolidation in in the next year in Belgium also, but I don't think that Regus or Spaces will take over small network. I'm more convinced in new building, totally full digital automatic, with automatic doors, automatic toilets and stuff like that. So I see more new buildings in, but I don't think that Regus will take multi-bureau or KBC or office center over. I see a natural growth of all those little networks. They will probably work together with solo entrepreneurs. But the big network like IWG, they will probably rent completely new buildings.
Okay, so you see more of an impact of what we call the PropTech industry, the PropTech wave, which, as you mentioned, it's about automation, it's about sensors, it's about smart locking, etc. That's yeah.
Absolutely. I try to orient my prospection for this little building, Seed Factory, to the Japanese and Chinese community. Yeah. They came into the building just 5 minutes, and they asked me, do you have open automatic doors? Do you have automatic toilets? I say, no, not actually. And so they left the building after 5 minutes. So if you want to reach this kind of population, you need. Yeah. You need absolutely new brand buildings.
We are wearing masks, you know, it will happen.
Yeah, but that's not enough for the Chinese and Japanese.
No, sure. But I think I was mentioning that indeed that in Europe, you know, this thing of the mask now is in the population. So we will likely embrace other habits that are in place there, but for some reason, for Russian reasons.
What I also see in Brussels actually is. There's a big demand for big meeting rooms, and there is nearly no demand for small meeting rooms. So people are not coming to the office for a meeting with one colleague or with one prospect or for one. They come to the office for bigger meetings. Okay. I see actually. So there's big demand for meeting rooms with 6+, and not for 2.
Interesting, because what we hear is rather saying that the meeting rooms are underused, and that on average the average number of people in meeting room is 4 for 2/3 of the meetings. But what you mean is that for those who are not in the building but have to come to the building, it's because there was this bigger meeting taking place, right?
Yeah. So actually, during the COVID period, we transformed all the meeting rooms in private office. So we had rooms. We have rooms a little bit bigger than a Skype room. You remember those Skype rooms with 2 square meters? Yeah. So we have meeting rooms from 4 square meters. So we transform all those meeting rooms in private office to give some more comfort to the coworker. Yeah. Because and it's still like that actually.
All right. Okay.
Good.
Perfect. Awesome. I think it's super interesting. People should visit you more and come from around Europe and get more feedback about the Belgium co-working scene. And
You have to come with Mr. Prop. You know this brand? Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, what do you think? Will it be over within the 2 months that people won't pay attention as much as they do now to this sanitization things, and or is it like there for to last?
It's actually today it's already very hard to ask people to wear this kind.
Yeah.
Now, because it depends probably of the type of partners, of the type of members, but in my economy they are between 25 and 35, so they are not in the target group. You see what I mean? And they say, okay, I have 0.0006% chance to be sick, so the risk is minimum. I have more. I take more risk with my bike or with my motorbike. So it's very hard to ask those guys politely to wear this kind of stuff.
Okay. Cool. Thank you so much, Edouard, for the insight and for sharing your thoughts and the story of a seed factory. Long live seed factory, and hope we see you in Vienna.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. In Europe. Thank you.
I'll be there.
Bye-bye.